thank you very much for coming onto Stream 2A. I'm very honored. Jackie and I are very honored to be speaking to you on a subject that we're very passionate about. Sorry, can I have the slide? Yes. In the tradition of reflective supervision, as you can see, this is a photograph I took in China back in maybe 11 years ago. It's in a place called Jiuzhaigou. I think that our Chinese friends will know. It's one of the UNESCO sites in the world, where it's basically there are hills, there are mountains, and there's water. And Jackie made a very interesting observation last night as we were looking through the slides again, just to make sure we remember what we're speaking about, is that the reflection seems clearer than the picture, than the actual scene itself. And I think that brought up the essence of reflective supervision, which is to be able to see clearly in a very quiet way of what's going on as we are coaching or as we're having that interaction, because during that interaction we will usually be managing quite a lot of things during an interaction with a client. So in that good tradition of being still, can I invite all of us to just follow me with a very short breathing exercise, just to get us all into the space and energy of supervision, but more importantly, in connection with each other in this room. So if you're sitting, may I invite you to have both your feet on the floor and your back away from the chair of the seat. You can do this with your eyes opened, or you can do this with your eyes shut. It doesn't matter. And just some quick instructions about the way we breathe, or you may have your own way of doing the meditation or doing a sit, but let me introduce mine in case you're interested in it. So when we breathe in, we would imagine the energy coming from our feet, to the back of the feet, to the back, to our shoulders, to the back of the head, and up. So when we breathe in, energy flows from bottom to top. When we breathe out, imagine the energy going up, coming through our head of the crown, our nose, our throat, our tummy, and then, to the knees and back into the ground. So that's a slight trick that we have to manage here. So if I can invite you now just to take a deep breath. Just following your breath and energy from the feet to the back of the shoulders, to the back of your head, all the way to the crown, and allowing the energy to come up from your head. Imagine like there is a string attached to the top of your head, pulling your spine straight. Just feeling your body straightening, enjoying your skeleton supporting your body naturally. This is how our body should behave. As you breathe out, allow the breath to come again through the crown, through your nostrils, to your throat, to your heart, through your stomach, to your knees, and back into the ground. The next set of breath, breathe in, and when your breath comes to your shoulder, just detect if there is any tension, any pull, any sort of energy around there. Just breathe into it and relax and let it dissipate. At this point in time, I'd like you to think about people who love you, support you. They could be your mentors. They could be people that you look up to as your teacher. Just imagine them all coming now back at the back of you and reaching out with their hands and putting it on your shoulders. Just feel their energy, feel their qualities flowing through you. Just enjoy that for a moment. Feel the strength of all your mentors, people who love you, giving their strength through their hands on your shoulders. And as you breathe out now, slowly, the breath that comes to your heart area, again, just check in that your shoulders are drawn back, relaxed. And now I'd like you to invite someone or something or some situation that when you think about, it will bring a smile to your face. So just bring that person, bring that situation into your mind right now. I see some of you smiling. I see some of you not quite. So if you're not, just be conscious. If you're not quite smiling yet, choose someone else. Lovely. More smiling faces. The next part of the breath, as we breathe in and breathe out, I'd like us all to imagine. Some of us know this, we have our energy body. So, just get in touch with your energy body. For those of us who are not used to this kind of language, it could be a temperature, it could be a warmth that emits from your body. It can be a color that you see that's surrounding your physical body. Just bring that energetic body into your mind right now. And what I'd invite you to do is now to just check in with yourself, your energy body in front of you and at the back of you. Are they balanced? If not, try and balance them. And then push them out to the left and to the right. And again, checking if they are balanced. And now there's something that we usually forget, which is from the top of our head and from the bottom of our feet. Because our energetic body is 3D. It's not two-dimensional. It encapsulates us. So just finding that sweet spot for yourself, feeling encompassed by your own energetic body. I now invite you to push them out and fill the room with me so that we are all in this energetic circle together. And we all have an intention to hold each other in this space that we're going into for the next 60 minutes or so. And if there's anything that we could send in terms of energy, is to send goodwill, peace, and happiness to everyone in this room and also the people outside. Okay? I just invite you to breathe 3 more times, and then slowly, in your pace, come back into the room, and we will start the session. 3, 2, 1, and we're back.
That feels better. I feel that we've all arrived now. We've connected to ourselves and to everybody else. Sawadee-ka. So, welcome to Reflective Supervision, an inclusive experience for accessing our humanity and building our coaching, transforming our coaching. When I first started to supervise and be supervised in 2010, I had been coaching for 15 years and I thought I was a pretty okay coach. And Like a lot of coaches, I was a bit of a development junkie and had been through lots of methodologies, had lots of wonderful teachers, coach mentors, etc. And when I started supervision, it amazed me. And I thought, how had I been coaching for this long without supervision? It also helped me access my humanity. It helped me understand my gifts and to tap into my brilliance, and also my darkness and shadows and everything in between. So when we do that for ourselves as coaches, we also are doing that for our clients and all of their stakeholders. So let's have a look at what we'll be exploring today. How many people here have regular coaching supervision? Okay. And how many people are total beginners to this topic and really aren't familiar with it at all, which is totally okay? Okay, so quite a variety. So we're going to start just with a very brief definition of what coaching supervision is and some of the benefits of coaching supervision. Why bother doing this when we have so much CPD anyway? And we will give you a brief look at just some of the models we use in coaching supervision, and then we'll like to spend some time working with you to give you a little taste of what it can be like. And of course, we'll finish with questions and answers. In your the app for the conference, you will find, I think there's about 20 pages there, none of which we're going to cover today, but it's some nice resources for you there. So we have information from 5 different coaching associations and how they define supervision and what they, how you can utilize it. We look at coaching supervision schools, 3 global schools, and they're great websites for finding out more about supervision and finding a supervisor if you're interested. We tell you a little bit about our background in supervision, and because it's about reflective inquiry, we have some reflections for you about our own journey. And we have lists and books and videos and all sorts of resources for you. So I hope you enjoy looking at those later. We also have a reflection journal in there, but we'll also walk you through a little bit of this today. So these are some of the questions that we invite you to ask yourselves. So in a moment, we'll ask you to discuss this with a neighbour. What's your intention for this session? What would you like to take away? What questions do you have? What are you curious about? It's also important to work in supervision. We work with our whole selves, so your feelings and sensations and your body, not just what's happening in our heads. And as we experienced just a moment ago, we are more than just what's happening with us. It's also about the space around us. So what are you noticing there? And then lastly, towards the end, we'll look at what are your insights now, and how might your intentions change to how you could take this forward. So we'll pause at different moments to help you with that process. So what is it? There are many, many different definitions of coaching supervision. This one is from ICF. Coaching supervision is the interaction that occurs when a coach periodically brings his or her coaching work experience to a coaching supervisor in order to engage in reflective dialogue and collaborative learning for the development and benefit of the coach and his or her clients. So you can bring anything to supervision about your work, about your clients, about yourself, because who you are is how you coach, and therefore anything that impacts you is going to impact your coaching and your clients and everyone that they interact with. So that is a formal definition using our heads. And I'd like to share with you now a different way of looking at supervision. And this is a poem written by Edna Murdoch, who is a wonderful supervisor. She is one of the founders of the Coaching Supervision Academy, and she's been Felicia's and one of our teachers. It is called, and this is also in your resources, "The End of Art is Peace. I sit with you, new to me, as I am new to you. Pleasantries at first, a gentle tease, then a gradual easing into the work. We listen to each other, we speak, careful words edging us closer to the touch of truth. As the protecting layers fall away from both of us, hearts and minds entrain, and we sit in a larger space than either of us had imagined. The room dissolves. My notes stop. My breath walks with your breath. This hour slows right down, and the deep comfort of thinking and creating together happens. We have let go to let come. What comes to me is peace and gift. For you, relief that we can be in this way, that this conversation can hold so much, more than I will ever know. So that's a slightly different way of looking at supervision. So what we'd like to do now is just to demonstrate the difference between some of these things. So what's the difference between a coach and a coach mentor and a supervisor? So I'm going to ask Felicia to come with me, and we're going to demonstrate this through some silly walks. Okay. So the first one is coaching. So we have a now. So Felicia, this is where you are now.
Okay.
And we would ask lots of questions and dialogue to help you get clarity on where are you right now. We would also look into the future, some kind of goal or a desired future state. And this we would discuss and get clarity over.
It looks impossible, this goal.
But you want it, don't you?
Oh yeah, I want it, but
Yeah.
just don't know how to get there.
Yeah. And there is a creative tension in this gap between the now and this desired future. And together we will co-create strategies to get there.
Okay,
Shall we do that?
sure.
Excellent.
Help me, coach.
So we're walking through with our strategies. And here we have a barrier.
I can't get past this point.
It's okay, we can work through this together.
Really?
What is it that you could do to overcome this barrier?
Well, I could move to the right. there left, or I could move to the right, or I could jump over it.
Yeah, let's try that.
Jumping?
Whichever you think.
Okay.
Excellent. Barrier is gone, and that could be an external barrier or an internal barrier.
Yeah.
And here, we have some resources that can help you with your journey. So here are some resources
Okay.
to help you.
Right. And I'm at my goal. I achieved it. Thank you, coach.
Yay. Thank you. So that is coaching. Again, we are doing some big summaries here. All right, so now let's look at coach mentoring. So this is not normal mentoring. This is specifically around coach mentoring. So
And also, this is coach mentoring is the way we understand it to be or would like to look at it.
Yeah.
There will be different ways of looking at coach mentoring. So I just want to qualify that whatever we're sharing it today is the way this is our perspectives only. There are many ways of looking at things.
just one version, and we realize there's lots of different language used around these terms.
Yeah.
So, shall we do it here? So here we have, so Felicia, you've finished some coach training.
Yeah. I'm all ready to
Congratulations,
coach. I'm
great.
ready to change the world.
Yeah,
Mentor.
and I know that you want to be excellent at this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I also want to get all those ICF accreditations,
Okay, good.
the step ladder up.
So we have some accreditation. We have some standards we want to meet, and they might be external, such as a credential, or even just our own sense of, wow, I'm really doing this well. So this is where we're working towards.
Okay.
And there are some coaching competencies that are needed to be able to do that. But along the way, to do so, there are hurdles that need to be jumped over and hoops to be jumped through. So, and I will observe and give you feedback along the way.
No, too difficult.
Too difficult?
I can't do this. It's not my style. I'm just in a habit of not listening.
But I will support you in that. Come on, you can do that over this first hurdle.
Okay, I listened for 5% more.
Very good. That's good. And with more practice, we will be able to even do that better and better and with greater ease. Excellent. And here is a hoop that you need to jump through to get to here. You can do it.
I'm here.
Excellent. That was really good. Now, would you like to go back and try that again, and this time with more grace?
No way.
You can do it.
Okay. Better.
Excellent. And here you are. Congratulations. You have met the standards.
Great, I can put in my application now to ICF.
Okay, so the last one is coaching supervision. Now here we don't have any goals or hurdles or anything like that. We have a little phrase of walking around the garden. In this case, walking around a room. So Felicia, let's wander through the room together and explore what you'd like to.
I'm noticing there's a coffee cup next to Anisha. And it's empty.
And what's going on for you that's capturing your attention?
Yes.
What is going on for you?
Tells me that I need a coffee. And I need some energy.
Okay. And we would explore that further.
This way. Pencils with lots of papers. That's what I'm noticing right now.
And what is it that you're noticing?
Actually, the orange on the tip of the pencil is capturing my attention. Yeah. And it brings a certain sadness. I don't know why. The color is very vibrant, but yet I'm feeling sad.
And what is that sadness about?
I can't explain it right now. It's just the contrast of the orange and the blue. Maybe I'm just picking up the sadness of the Thai people right now with the passing of their monarchy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can sense that. Okay. So Felicia, also you are in this room. So you're part of the system. And when we're part of the system, it is hard to really see what's going on. So shall we just take a little step back and look at this room? What do you notice now from this different perspective?
I think the sadness is suddenly coming to me because the room is so big and the walls are actually very plain, like there's nothing in the room. There's a sense of emptiness. Although I know there's a lot of people here, but because the room is so big, I'm not able to connect with them one by one. And I'm just sensing that I have this sadness, like I want to get to know people better, but I don't have a chance in this setting. Yeah.
Good.
Supervision.
Supervision. Thank you. So they are just some silly walks to just very briefly demonstrate the difference between the three things. Okay. Could we move on to the next
I was just curious, is there any question or any reflections about the differences?
Or we can leave that to the end.
Okay.
Or also this evening will be here. Is it possible to move on to the next slide?
Yes.
Or am I doing it the wrong way? Where do I? Not working. No.
There we go.
Great.
Okay. So I don't want to block your view, so I'm going to stand on that side of the room. So in the next few slides, we're just going to talk a little bit about why supervision. Okay. Why bother? Why do we use supervision? Basically, in coaching, as we can all, we're all responsible coaches. However, the interaction between the coach and the client, ourselves and our client, can sometimes be very intense and very intimate and demanding of us as a coach. Yeah, I see nods in the group. And unfortunately, the reality is that even though there are, we have a lot of qualifications, we could be like Jackie, be a development junkie, go get a lot of qualifications, but that does not guarantee coaching quality or good coaching results. What's also not easy, or not making things easy, is that because coaching is a field that is continuously being developed, new things are discovered every day. There are new theories. Ever so often, you have the masters coming to our region and say, join this course, you get trained, you get certification. There's so many things out there. New discoveries are made every day. Is that we have a lot of diversity in coaching theories and practices. So there are a lot of things that we are trying to learn, we're trying to use, so that makes life a little bit challenging for coaches. And last but not least, we often become a barrier to ourselves in coaching as well, where I call it my stuff, or we call it our my stuff. It's basically you see a fish hook there. We get hooked into coaching conversations. Sometimes we get hooked into our clients' stories, just because they have a similar background or we had a similar experience. We can get overindulged in their stories. We could have multiple roles as well, and when we are coaching. The scripts that we have, the way that the beliefs that we hold within ourselves, dynamics are really, what's happening between the two of us. Sometimes when I, when I coach more mature gentlemen, they may remind me of my teacher or somebody. And then I may transfer my experience of my teacher to that relationship. And then I become super polite. Like I dare not ask all the right questions. I'll be like, So all those dynamics happen. The systems in which we exist is another influencer that influenced my stuff. Strange and unexpected things happen. I have a little story to tell. There was one time I was, again, coaching a very senior person. And then all of a sudden, I felt very small. And when I was working with my coaching supervisor, they said, so what came to your head when you're working with this gentleman? I said, I felt like a little deer, and he became a bear. It just came out like that. And she said, so what's that about? So we went and looked at it in more detail. And last but not least, my favorite subject, shadows, which is, things that we don't own, or our patterns that we don't own, things that we don't like in ourselves sometimes. And they often shows up when it's dark. So that's the shadow. And what's not even helping is that we have all the system influences. We have, news on the social media. We have things happening around the world that influence us, and also the organization that we're going through. A lot of the, executives I'm coaching right now, maybe your clients are luckier, but there's a lot of downsizing and all that going on. Right sizing, they call it. If we call it politically correct, it's right sizing. Nevertheless, people are being let go. There's grief, there's stuff going on. So systemically, that comes into the coaching relationship as well. So why bother really is coaching supervision provides us a safe and non-judgmental space to just explore our vulnerabilities. Because I think I just spoke to Nina, if I can borrow what I heard from you this morning. She was saying, I come out of a session, and me too, yeah, I'm not just saying about you, come out of a session going, did I do the right thing? Did I ask the right question? Did I bring the conversation to the right corner? We are not sure. So this is a safe space to look at that. We continue to grow and be challenged because the only thing that is, as long as we're alive and breathing, we will continue to grow, and we will come and come to notice that there's a better version of ourselves that's ready to meet us. That's what I call our learning edge. And all parties are protected. Coaching supervision is not just about looking after the coach. It's also looking after the coach, the clients, and the system that we serve in. And really, this is in hope of increasing the overall coaching profession. What is the purpose? I think you can read this in a lot of coaching supervision, but I just want to highlight the important points for me as a coaching supervisee and supervisor. That we are all working in a VUCA world right now, and there's 3 ways of supporting a coach. One is the normative, where we ensure that the supervisee's work is professional and ethical. Here, when I first saw it, my first reaction was, I don't need someone to tell me I'm an ethical person. I don't need someone to tell me what's ethical. However, in supervision, what we are looking at is often the gray areas. It's not about right or wrong. Everything could be correct. There's a lot of possible way you can deliver this set of ethics. But what is it that is true to your own principles, your own values? So I was thinking about using the phrase different shades of gray, but in looking at ethics. But actually, I say we're looking at the rainbow, the kaleidoscope of colors that's possible in ethics. Because what's right in somebody's eyes could be not right in somebody else's eyes. So it's just a way to explore. Formative is continuous professional development. The third one to me is quite important. Is in coaching is a very lonely profession. At the end of the day, we have confidentiality clause that says I can't tell my family member what went on. I can't talk to my colleagues about my client. So we are basically handling our client by ourselves. This supervision is a space where we can bring it legitimately because we have a structure to hold all this confidentiality in place and to have support. I'm not going to go through again in details, but I think the main message I want to pass on here with the full spectrum model of supervision. This is the model the CSA used. Other schools will be using other models. I think they're all correct. But in this model, we focus on 4 main pillars: contracting. And when I'm doing my own work as a coach and as a supervisor, 70% of issues around coaching comes from contracting, where either the coach or the coachee or the client are not clear on what is the outcome for the coach session. Relational presence is about how I relate to my client and how all the psychodynamics that we talk about. Are there transference? Are there projections that's going on? Energy management, I think you've experienced it already once you stepped into the room, where how do you not only manage your own energy, but manage the energy of the room? And models and tools. Again, a lot of words, not going to go through all that. ICF Code of Ethics is one of our tools that we abide by and reference. The 7I model is one interesting one where we use it's called 7Is because there are 7 lenses to look into the coaching supervision. The 3 main characters in play here is the coach, the client, first of all, the client of the coach that is supervising. That's number 1. Number 4 is the coach itself, himself or herself. And then number 6 is the supervisor, ourselves, the person who's doing the supervision. In lens number 1, we look at the client and the issue that they bring to the coaching session. Okay. For number 4, as a coach, we often ask, what are they sensing about themselves? What do they understand about themselves? So we're really raising the awareness of that coach himself. Number 6 is when I work with the coach. What am I sensing as a supervisor? So what you're seeing here is that we're using the wisdom of different people, different situations to help illuminate the scenario that the coach is bringing to the supervision session, right? So it's just not one torchlight, but many torchlights looking into and really illuminating on and trying to get an understanding of what's happening. Number 2 is the intervention that the coach has used with the client. Lens number three is the relationship that the coach has with the client. Number five is actually the parallel process. Sometimes when we supervise, there was one time I supervised and the coach was going on, and I suddenly said, hey, look, I don't understand why, but I'm just getting very bored. The person was talking, I was just getting very bored. That's very unusual. And then I just said, what does that seem to you? I'm just getting very bored. What are you understanding about it? And the coach told me, that's exactly it. I was really bored with my client. He keeps repeating the same thing. And, there seems no way out. So number 5 is really parallel processing, that we're picking up energy dynamics that's present in the coaching relationship. And number 7, obviously, is the overall systems influences. Struggling. Okay. So at this point in time, I think we've gone through quite a bit of quite a lot of information. And also this is reflective supervision. What I'd like you to do right now is just to take a moment and just reflect. With all that we've talked about just now, what are my feelings right now? What are my sensations? And what am I sensing about the energy in this room? And also, what am I sensing about the energy in this room when we can hear the next room? Yeah, just notice where your mind is, where your body and feeling is, with all that's in the system right now.
So, what would you like to bring to supervision? So, people who have a regular supervisor, would you share some of the things you've brought to your supervision, some topics or themes? Yes.
Fear of how to start.
Fear of having to start. Does that sound familiar? Good one. What else?
When I have complex relationships within the same account, and I have a sense of getting quite lost sometimes around where I should be, where and when, etc.
So when there are many stakeholders, it might be a tripartite or even more so. Yeah, that's very common in organisational work, also in family work. Someone else had one there?
Ethical dilemmas.
Big one. And often it's very hard to really work out what is right or wrong here. This is important for all coaches. It's a very big issue for internal coaches where you are part of the system. It's very easy to not be aware of some of these boundaries and to get drawn into those issues. So these are some of the things that we could bring. What about people who don't have a supervisor? What are some things that you would like to bring to supervision? If you had someone that you could talk to on a regular basis. Anyone? What's something that perhaps you feel isolated about? Or maybe you talk to your peers?
I've got one.
Yes. Thank you, Michael.
Team coaching.
Team coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, that brings a totally different dynamic into coaching. Yeah. So it can be many things. And these are just some of them. So it might be a challenging client you have. It could be that you're getting stuck, that you are with that's a really one. What's it like being stuck?
It sucks. It sucks actually getting stuck. And I think just to add one more thing, because I think most of the time, I think one of the issues of any starting coach is to actually you're now engaged with the client, and what happens is it's a sponsored client, it's a sponsored coachee. So how do you now engage this person who doesn't seem to like to be coached and still keep that engagement going on? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And stuckness is a big one. What we might do in supervision with that is actually the thing is there's that of energy, I want to get out of this stuckness, this fear of not knowing what to do next. I was in the session and I didn't know what to say. And what we might do is to explore what that feels like and what would it be like to actually just sit with that stuckness with your client. Or what might be a metaphor for that stuckness? Is it like facing a wall? Or is it like being in quicksand? And we can use those metaphors to explore that issue for you. So they're just some of the things. Stagnating. I remember taking to supervision that I just felt like I just felt I was getting stale. I wanted more aliveness in my coaching. I took that to my supervisor. Sometimes it's so that we get triggered. We might have a strong reaction or emotion with our client. You're going, where did that come from? Or it might remind us of someone. Or there's just something in us that we're projecting. So these are all different things that we can bring, and there really is it's an endless list of what you can bring. So really, yes.
Could I just say something as well here that I think often not knowing what we want to bring to supervision is something to bring. You know, that process of I'm not coming in with anything big here or anything that I really want to put on the table, but often in those sessions, that's what's really valuable, is what emerges.
It is a very emergent process. It's very much, thank you for that, it's very much in the moment. And yes, you know, we encourage you to prepare and say, what would I like to bring? What's a theme? But often the richest ones are the ones where it's like, I don't know what to bring. And then we just work with that. And it's incredible what can come out of that process. So supervision is one of it's really 100% tailored to you. So in that way, it's one of the most valuable forms of CPD. So what we'd like to do now is a brief taster of something that could be covered in supervision.
Can we spot contract right now?
Yes.
We are 15 minutes to the hour.
Okay.
So
Let's do that then.
Let's
so
do
we
that.
get into that.
yeah.
Right. So we might do some work on qualities. So as coaches, the qualities we bring as human beings impact our coaching. So through supervision, we might find that there's a quality that we would like a little more of in ourselves. So it could be something like courage or tenderness, discipline, centeredness, anything. So I want you to think now about a quality that you would like a little bit more of. And it could be something that's already a strength and you want to build deep in it and strengthen it. Or it might be something that you feel is missing and you want more of. So have a think about what that might be. And one of the things, we can explore qualities in many ways. We can try to understand it, we can study it. What does it mean to me? We can also look at what does it feel like? How do we embody that quality? And that's some work that we'll do now. So I'd like you to have people pick a quality, pick a quality, any quality. And I'd like you to now stand up. So we all stand up. Center yourself. And have your feet on the ground. Breathing the energy up through our body, up through our back, our lovely strong back. And then with our exhale, down our soft center. And notice the space around you and what is happening inside of you. And I want you to, as you think of your quality, I want you to choose some space in front of you and imagine or see or imagine your quality there. And it could be perhaps behind a door or in a little doorway, or it might be a circle on the ground that you could step into. And in a moment, I'll ask you to step into that, walk into, move into that quality, into that space. So if you could do that now, in whatever way you like, you might jump in, wander in, tiptoe in. Good. And breathe into that. If you wish, you can close your eyes, but there's no need. Just be with that. Breathe in, evoking that quality within you. starting to feel it. Maybe it's tingling, feeling it in your blood, in your bones. And you don't have to engulf yourself in it. Just imagine just a little bit more. Just let it creep up. What would it be like to have just 3% more of that quality? So notice how you breathe when you have this quality. How is your breathing different? And notice how you stand with this quality, and make some adjustments to perhaps your posture of how would you stand with this quality. Just adjust. And now start to just wander, walk around the room with this quality in your body, and moving any way you like. How are you walking? What pace are you walking? What is happening with your hands? How are you holding your head? Are you smiling? Are you stern? Are you strong? Are you soft? Just noticing. And start to mingle with each other. Make eye contact with 2 or 3 people. And what is that like with this quality? And now, find somebody to meet, and as you walk towards them, how would you meet and greet this person with this quality that you want just a little bit more of? Nice to meet you.
I'm from 24/7. I think we had a session with you before. Team coach.
And you might like to think about someone who represents this quality for you. A role model. If your quality is compassion, you might think of Mother Teresa. Or if it is courage, you might think of Malala, the young Afghani girl. Or if it's humility, you might think of Donald Trump. No, I think we need another one. Or it might be an animal. It could be your pet dog, or a tree, or a mountain, but anything that embodies this quality. And then feel that coming through you. All right, so now if you walk back to your seat with your quality and sit with that quality, and I'd like you there should be a piece of paper there for you, just spend a minute just capturing visually, without talking, any insights or any feelings or any sensations. What is your depiction of that experience you just had with your quality?
What we're encouraging you is to just record the sensation, the image, the feeling, whatever that is helpful for you as you leave the room, that can help you to remember and anchor it the next time you want to call up this quality.
So I encourage you you can write a few little words, but I encourage you in particular to draw. And if we had more resources here, we would use colour and all sorts of things. But just draw what comes up for you. when you've captured the essence of that experience, I'd like you to show it to your neighbour and just talk with them, just exchange your experiences, show them your picture, and just share and reflect on that experience for you with your quality. So how long? 7 more minutes. Okay, thanks. Share, yeah. I ask you to ring the bell. I ask you to ring the bell. Okay, so if we bring our discussions to a close, you can see a lot of interesting discussion going on then. Who would like to share something that happened in their pair? We have a couple of stories. Yes.
Hi, yes. Yeah, wow. So Adam share, okay, sure, yeah. So what Adam shared to me is that he would like to improve the sensitivity, okay. And we talk about being mindful. This is the topic for this event, okay. So, and being mindful, actually, you don't have to, okay, yeah. So being mindful, you don't have to care too much about whatever that's in mind. Sensitivity will come naturally. Yeah, so very good.
And what came up in that experience for you, in having it in your body? What was some of the experiences or sensations or images come to you? What came to either of you?
I think coming to any certain level of realization would actually give you that aliveness. It gives you that clarity as well. And I think, yeah, it would actually push me to do more and actually challenge myself furthermore. Energy-wise, very positive. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Who else would like to share? Yes.
Hi. Jose and I got surprised because we have the same qualities that we wanted, and it's both courage. Okay, and for me, my vision was that I need this quality to help me move forward towards the direction that I'd like, towards how I could help our organization create the change in the organization. And Jose here's drawing was more, it's related in a way because he has a vision that he'd like to see happen. And it's that fear inside. Both of us have that feeling that we have that fear inside. That's why even this vision wouldn't push through. The obstacle is that fear. But if we have that courage, he could share the vision that he has, and it would help me move forward.
Thank you. And what was it like walking around with having courage, embodying that courage? Did you notice if you stood or walked differently?
Yes. There's that energy that made me walk straight, and actually my pace was a bit faster than the rest.
Thank you. One more. Who has a different quality to share?
Shall we put Damien on the spot?
He looks very keen here.
The quality, we didn't get a lot of time to talk about it, but the quality that I have in working is humor, bringing humor to my work and to my life.
Excellent. And what was that like to feel that in your body? What did you do with your body as you walked around with that quality?
It's more lighter, much lighter.
Feels lighter. Interesting. That's it's one of my qualities at the moment is playfulness. It also has some lightness. Yeah, and we can bring these qualities. It just has a different sensation, a different feeling, and we interact differently. So thank you for playing with that. That was just a very brief taste. Also with supervision, we can do it one-to-one, or we can do it in a group, or we can do it as peers, just as we can with coaching. So, having had that different experience, what are you noticing now about your experience of the space? So again, if you just tap in, notice what's happening around you, amongst you, and in the room generally, because this is a field that we influence and we interact with. So just contemplate and check in of what's happening there.
So I think in summary, thank you, Jackie, for holding that taster for reflective supervision. I think, you've already experienced it. That activity is one of the many that you can do in supervision in helping us to build any part of the coaching muscle that we're looking for. And supervision really provides just a very safe space for all of us to explore our vulnerabilities, to just be human. I think there's a lot of text up there, but for me, why I love supervision is that I can be totally human with my supervisor. So I could not really sometimes do that with my client because I am paid and be of service. I always have this thought behind my head, or that I should be a responsible coach. But in supervision, this is a space where I can be totally human, bringing all my flaws, my fears, and having someone that is totally not judgmental and listening in and providing a different perspective, possibly. Most of the time, my supervisors provides a very different perspective of what I go in with. So it's a co-creation of, wisdom in supervision. And regular supervision leads to greater consciousness. I started by saying coaching has opened up my consciousness as a human being, but supervision has really raised that consciousness. And that consciousness not only just about what good I can do, but what bad I could do, and that's okay. That both exist. Sometimes I will fall down as a coach, but that's okay. And very happy to tell you that ICF has also approved coaching supervision as one of the CCEU activity that you can participate in, because I think as professional coaches, as you coach many more years, you start to run out of CCEU ideas. You start to say, should I go on another course, or should I, how do I get my CCUs and keep developing myself as a coach? I think coaching supervision has just opened up the doorway for us to have lifelong learning. And for that, I think what we want to leave you with is reflective supervision is 100% tailored continuous professional development. CPD stands for continuous professional development that illuminates your work in service of your clients, the system that we work in, and yourself. So we'll hand it back over to Michael. Thank you.
Thank you both very much. Thank you. And we still have another 9 minutes or so for Q&A. But first, I want to thank you both, Jackie and Felicia, for sharing your time, your knowledge and wisdom, and also for embodying the presence the way you're being was magical. And so thank you for that. Very nice. So let's open it up to Q&A, questions and answers for them. We have a microphone. Here's one. Go
So I
ahead.
have a question. So today we heard Marshall Gortney talking to the business community, telling, I need help and that's okay. And I think coaching supervision is about that. It's I need help and that's okay. But I find that many times coaches have some challenges in embracing it or even accepting it. So the question that I have for you is, what have you done in Singapore, in Asia, to bring more awareness and help people to get a sense, like doing the presentation is an example, and what other kind of things you are doing for everybody who is interested can contribute to bring the awareness and the importance of coaching supervision for the development of supervision in the world, and coaching in the world, sorry.
The first thing that came to my mind is we as supervisors needs to continue to be supervised and walk the talk, really. You know, it's great to say you need to hire a supervisor, but if I don't hire a supervisor myself, then it defeats the entire message. And we continue to learn. I think sometimes in Asia we can do this kind of talks, we can share resources, but the true selling message is if we embody it and we show the humility and the growth at the same time of a coach that's being supervised and how we learn and fall down and learn, fall down and learn.
Yes, and really it's still very much in its infancy in Asia Pacific. And so this is really one of our desires, our dreams is to, because it's been so powerful for us, is to spread the word, and this is part of that. And just through our clients and word of mouth of how things change for them when they get supervision. So that is, I guess, the main ways.
And one of the things is market will change it as well, because more and more clients who are buying services, we used to get, do you have an insurance and professional indemnity insurance in order to do the work? More and more I'm getting, do you have a supervisor? Are you on regular supervision? So the market will change, you know, will push some of the changes through as well.
One of the global supervision associations, so similar to APAC, but for supervision, is called AOCS, the Association of Coaching Supervisors, of which both Felicia and I are professional members, and I'm currently the regional coordinator for Asia Pacific. But because there are so few supervisors, there's not a lot to coordinate. So this is an area that we are looking into. So we would like to do some more virtual work in that area.
Great. Another question? Yes.
Hi, thank you so much. My question is that what should be criteria when coaches are selecting a supervisor? Sorry, okay. My question is that what criteria coaches should be looking for when we're selecting supervisors?
What qualities did you say? Criteria.
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 So, well, it's not dissimilar to coaching in that you would need to have someone that you feel is going to be a good fit, someone who's going to support you and challenge you. Also that has been had supervision themselves for many years and has some kind of, qualification and experience with this. And then a lot of it is using your, I guess, how do you solve problems? So using that combination of going through things cognitively and your tick list, and then also your intuition of what it's like being with them. Do you feel you can open up with this person? Are they real and authentic? And really trusting those experiences with you. And you can do supervision just, session by session, but the really powerful ones are when it's over time, because the supervisor will get to notice what you're not bringing to supervision, or the patterns that you perhaps can't see, what you might be avoiding. So who is someone that you feel you would feel safe in that space so that you can bring all of yourself, including some of those dark bits, all those bits we're scared of sharing.
And I just want to acknowledge you for thinking about even starting to think about criteria for selecting a supervisor, because once the supervisor gets quite clear on what they want out of the supervision sessions, it's so much better. It's so much, fruitful for both parties. So thank you for saying that.
Thank you. We have time for one more question. Anybody? Yes.
Sure.
I knew you had a question.
Thank you. I'd just like your comments on the benefits of individual supervision and group supervision.
So the benefits on individual and group supervision. Yeah.
Okay. Individual supervision, basically you have the full attention of your supervisor and really working through in depth in your cases or your questions or your issues or your inquiries. Group is quite special. I do a lot of group supervision where because you're not doing one-to-one, you have dynamics in the team. And sometimes dynamic in the team is like a live movie. You get to see a lot more, so it's very rich. So it depends on what you're looking for in your supervision experience. If you're needing to look deep in, on your learning ages or whatever, and you want the safety of just working with one person, then it's one-to-one supervision. If you're a little bit more open and you love to learn in a community, group supervision is great as well. There are different ways of running group supervision. I've run like open classes in the school that I teach in. I've also run like 6 times same group. Different groupings, different configuration bring different things. When you have consistency, just like one-to-one supervision, we get to start to see the patterns. And what's really cool about group supervision is that you get to see dynamics that we are not even conscious of in the group because it surfaces. And then we can become quite curious about, so if you're behaving like this in this group, what's going on in your coaching? So we can do what I call flip-flop reflections.
And I would encourage you to explore both because they both bring different benefits. And so you can do them simultaneously or after each other. Obviously, one-to-one is a very safe environment where you can go deep on absolutely anything. And in group supervision, you get your own experience, but you also are learning vicariously by being with and observing others. And we have these mirror neurons, and so when someone is exploring, we are also exploring ourselves. So both are very, very beneficial. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Felicia and Jackie.